So it's this tree. Just push your way in there, Dave. It's this tree, and of course it's these clumps here that have been cut down. Remember what I said quite a while back? I said about natural succession that occurs on so when you abandon a piece of land, the first thing that it wants to do, or what occurs, is it begins a reversion process back through the stages of evolution. So, and one of the first species to colonize are things like sumac, if it's upland areas, and then this is one of the first trees for us to colonize. This is a tree called Acer negundo. It's on your Acer list, sorry I don't have the number. Otherwise known as the Manitoba maple. And this is a dead easy tree to identify really any time of the year if you follow a few rules. One, it is almost always multi-stemmed. Look at that, look at these clumps over here. And you can see that they're multi-stemmed. That's one. Two, at this time of year when it's not in leaf, you'll often see these clusters of keys hanging from the branches. Three, can I bring this in here without hitting anybody? Three, when you look at the new growth, you'll see that it's got this bloom on it, this like white powder that you can rub off. Right, so this can be rubbed off. And on some branches, I'm going to let that go. See if I can find a nicer one. That's really not.
Yep. Over here. That one's pretty good.
Really heavy in bloom. Yeah, right here. This one's really heavy in bloom. Right, you can see, you know, that gray blue. And if you rub it, it will come off.
Is that bad for the tree?
Yeah. No, it's a bit of a protection. The other thing is the branches. The young branches are usually olive green in color. The other thing is it snaps very easily. Right? It's one of the most brittle maples. That's why it's usually multi-stem. That's why it has a lot of broken branches on. You can see that big limb that came off up here. It was eventually cut off. You'll see that it produces a lot of sucker growth, but even the big branches, I can go back and snap quite easily, right? So it's a very, very brittle tree. That shows you that it grows very fast. The cell growth is really, really weak. The other thing is the smell. If you break a small stem and then smell it, you break a small stem and then smell it, and right? Break a small stem and smell it, because remember, smell is one of your most perceptive senses. Pull the bark, smell that kind of bittery smell.
I like it.
And this comes up with its other common name. Its other common name is Boxelder. And the elders are a whole group of plants in a different genus called elderberries. They're in the genus Sambucus. And when you break a branch of Sambucus, which is almost as brittle as this, it has a very similar smell.
Are we going to get Sambucus?
No.
Hey, you never know.
Sorry? Yes, this is a native plant, Manitoba maple. It's native to Ontario, but it's one of the few maple trees they actually grow as a street tree in the western provinces. You know, I was in Edmonton. I go to Edmonton quite a bit to visit a friend, and there are horrible street trees out there, and they're all Manitoba maples, and they're trained up at single stems, and they're short-lived, and you know, you can see that they're problematic. There are some cultivars of this available. They're more kind of odd curiosities. I would never ever plant one, because there are a lot of other plants out there that are really worthwhile. This is a plant you've got to know because it's quite common, and it's one that seeds itself quite freely into abandoned areas, but it's never a tree that I would use in the landscape. And even its cultivars like flamingo and variegata, which might be quite attractive in leaf, you can find other plants with a lot more character that will fill that role. Okay. The leaf, we don't have a leaf here, but the leaf is really quite distinct because it's a compound leaf. So that's really quite distinct on in the Acer genus. Okay. Any questions? Usually covered in bugs. It'll have all sorts of holes in the leaves and warts on the leaves with every kind of bug feeding on it and such. So not a really great species. Any questions? No?